think about this paradox. Beat. Right now, multi-billion-dollar tech empires are being completely bottlenecked by local disputes over tap water.
Yeah, literally tap water.
Right, beat. Yet simultaneously, 99% of CEOs are quietly sitting in boardrooms preparing for massive human layoffs.
It's wild. We are fighting over physical dirt and water to build machines. Machines that, executives honestly believe will replace us in the cloud.
It's a profound structural collision.
Yeah, it really is.
Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome to our deep dive. Thank you for spending your time with us today.
Glad you're here with us.
We are synthesizing some incredibly dense material for you today. We've got recent tech newsletters, we've got geopolitical intelligence reports, and we're looking at massive corporate AI surveys. Our mission today is to figure out how these seemingly unrelated threads tie together.
Because they absolutely do tie together. I mean, inextricably.
They do. We need to explore how the physical scarcity of water connects directly to your job security.
Right.
We're looking at a massive squeeze. And to understand it, we have to start at the physical layer.
The dirt and the metal.
Exactly. We use words like the cloud, which, makes all this technology sound weightless.
Like it's magic.
Right. We imagine it floating invisibly above us. But AI is an incredibly dense, physical, energy-hungry beast.
The physical footprint is staggering. Yeah. People forget that ChatGPT doesn't just live in the ether.
Right.
It lives inside a metal box. Millions of metal boxes, actually. And those servers require vast amounts of electricity to run.
Which means heat?
Huge amounts of heat. More importantly, they generate massive amounts of heat.
Which brings us to the water.
Yes. You have to cool those massive server farms down, or the microchips literally melt.
Wow.
The most efficient way to cool them at scale is water evaporation. Millions and millions of gallons of it.
And this is causing major friction. The sources outline a very specific escalating battleground. There's a 40,000-acre AI data center project in Utah right now, and it's facing intense, highly coordinated local pushback. Residents are terrified about the water consumption draining their local reservoirs.
Naturally.
Right. They're also targeting the carbon footprint of the power plants needed to run the facility.
And Utah is just one domino, really. Dozens of vital U.S. data center projects are totally stalled right now.
Stalled completely.
Basically, yeah. You have billions of dollars in advanced microchips just sitting in warehouses. They're delayed or entirely blocked by zoning boards and environmental lawsuits.
This is where the geopolitical intelligence reports come in. And I want to pause here for a second. We need to be incredibly clear with you, the listener.
Absolutely.
We are simply reporting the specific viewpoints and analysis contained in the source material provided to us.
Right, we are not taking sides here.
Exactly. We are not endorsing any political viewpoint. We are just laying out what the intelligence analysts are claiming.
That's a crucial distinction, because the reports claim this isn't just organic local resistance. The sources cite experts who have identified a rapid convergence of different groups. They call it a red-green-green alliance.
Let's break down what that means according to the text. The reports describe a coordinated mix of climate activists, anti-Israel protesters, and various far-left political organizations. Furthermore, the analysis suggests this highly coordinated network is heavily backed by China-linked dark money.
Which is a massive claim. And the overarching goal, according to the intelligence analysts, is to throw sand in the gears of American industrial power.
To slow us down.
Exactly. Energy experts are literally comparing this strategy to the Cold War.
This Soviet analogy is fascinating. Back then, the Soviet Union covertly funded anti-nuclear power movements across Europe.
Right, I remember reading about that.
The strategy was to prevent energy independence, to keep the West totally dependent on Russian gas. Today, the playbook looks identical.
But the prize is different.
Right. The ultimate prize isn't heating oil. The prize is AI supremacy.
What's fascinating here is the sheer asymmetry of the situation. I mean, Western activist campaigns are successfully stalling heavy-duty energy infrastructure through local courts.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, China is moving in the exact opposite direction. They are aggressively forging ahead. They are building massive new coal and industrial power plants specifically to fuel their own tech stack.
And nobody is stopping them.
Exactly. They face absolutely zero internal resistance to building them.
It makes me think of the Industrial Revolution. I look at these sprawling AI data centers as the steel mills of the 21st century.
That's a great analogy.
If you cannot build the factory, you simply cannot build the future. Beat. But I'm stuck on one specific tactic here.
What's that?
Why are these global activist networks using local water use as their primary weapon against global AI development?
Well, because abstract concepts are incredibly hard to fight.
How do you mean?
If an activist talks about geopolitical tech dominance, that's a vague, distant idea to a local resident.
Sure.
But local tap water, the electricity grid browning out during a heat wave, those are tangible. They are immediate, terrifying pressure points.
Ah, I see.
By targeting the local resources required to run the servers, activists can effectively paralyze these massive global developments without ever having to debate the technology itself.
So local water disputes become the ultimate weapon against global tech dominance.
Exactly. It grounds a massive geopolitical proxy war right inside a local zoning board meeting. It's incredibly effective.
Two-sec silence. It really is wild to think about.
It is.
But while that physical infrastructure layer is completely bottlenecked by red tape, the software layer is practically exploding with cash.
Oh, the money is insane right now.
The amount of capital flooding into the tool ecosystem right now is staggering.
It's flowing at historic, frankly unprecedented rates. The valuations we are seeing are completely detaching from traditional corporate metrics.
Let's look at some of the numbers highlighted in the text. There's a startup called Hark. They just raised $700 million. They currently sit at a $6 billion valuation. Beat. They have exactly 70 employees.
70 people. I mean, think about the math on that. The ratio of human capital to financial capital is completely inverted from past eras.
It really is.
They are building AI-native models and hardware to train next-gen systems, and they're doing it on NVIDIA B200 infrastructure.
Let me define that quickly. B200 infrastructure basically means the absolute bleeding-edge microchips required to train complex AI systems.
Exactly.
Then you look at the coding assistant, Cursor. They just hit a reported $3 billion revenue run rate.
Which is huge.
And they added $1 billion to that run rate in just 2 months. Heavy hitters like Elon Musk, xAI, and SpaceX are deeply involved in backing them. Beat. Whoa. I mean, imagine generating $3 billion with a tiny team in just months.
It defies the traditional physics of business growth. You don't need giant factories of middle managers anymore.
Yeah.
And while the West is throwing billions at these lean startups, the East is competing aggressively on cost. DeepSeek just made its 75% price cut permanent.
Which is an insanely aggressive move for a frontier model.
Very aggressive.
And by frontier model, I mean the most advanced, capable AI systems currently available to the public. Cutting prices by 75% permanently is a full-blown price war.
Oh, absolutely. The sources suggest Huawei's Ascend chips might be the hidden reason they can actually afford that kind of margin compression.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah, they're basically subsidizing the compute to win market share.
But then you have the total opposite approach happening in the enterprise space over here. Microsoft and EY just formed a massive $1 billion partnership.
It's a fascinating contrast, isn't it?
Yeah.
Microsoft brings the raw AI models and the core engineers. EY brings 400,000 human consultants to push this AI into massive enterprises as fast as possible.
But there is a massive friction point emerging here. Executives are aggressively pushing these AI-first strategies from the top down.
Right.
But the developers on the ground are suddenly getting hit with shocking Gemini API bills.
Which is becoming a massive operational headache for these companies.
Let me clarify that term for anyone unfamiliar. API bills are simply costs for letting your software talk directly to AI models.
Exactly.
Every time your app asks the AI a question, it costs a fraction of a cent. But when you scale that to millions of queries, those costs are skyrocketing.
Okay.
Plus, Google openly admits that nobody fully understands AI security yet.
The whole landscape is shifting entirely too fast. You have tiny 70-person teams generating billions of dollars. You have foreign models slashing prices to zero. You have massive consulting armies trying to sell integration, and nobody really knows how to secure any of the data flowing through it.
This actually leads me to a serious question. I'm trying to square this circle.
Okay.
Why do major companies need 400,000 EY consultants if tools like Cursor are supposedly automating all the coding and integration work anyway?
It's a great question, and it really comes down to legacy debt.
Legacy debt.
Yeah. While the core AI technology is incredibly fast, massive enterprises are essentially paralyzed by their own history. They face massive integration hurdles.
Ah, that makes sense.
You cannot just plug a cutting-edge, highly unpredictable AI model into a legacy bank's database from 1998 without serious human oversight.
Right.
The internal systems are just too complex, and the security unknowns are too vast.
Big companies still need human guides to navigate the wild west of AI.
Precisely. The technology scales infinitely, but trust, compliance, and actual system integration still require a human handshake.
2-sec silence. Which
Huh?
brings us perfectly to the daily tool grind, the micro level.
Yeah.
We need to look at how these billions of dollars in investments actually translate into the fragmented tools you use every single day at your desk.
And this is where the listener probably feels the friction the most.
Yeah.
The sheer velocity of tool updates is totally overwhelming. I mean, the paradigm shifts every Tuesday.
I have to admit, I still wrestle with keeping up with all these tool updates myself.
Oh, we all do.
It feels like the ground is constantly shifting.
Yeah.
Look at what is happening right now in the ecosystem. Claude just introduced something called memory files.
That is a massive paradigm shift. It creates a persistent layer.
Explain that.
Normally, an AI model has amnesia. Every time you open a new chat, it forgets who you are. Memory files mean your notes, preferences, and project guidelines can be browsed, edited, and reused across sessions.
Wow.
It moves Claude away from being a simple chatbot and closer to being an autonomous, continuous agent.
And over on ChatGPT, they have a wild new beta feature. You can now build and edit full PowerPoint decks directly inside the chat interface.
It builds the whole deck.
Right, and then you tweak it normally in PowerPoint.
Yeah.
It just skips the entire blank page drafting phase. You go from concept to a 20-slide presentation in seconds.
Which is huge for productivity.
Then you have Google Stitch 3.0. This one blew my mind. It generates full UI screens for mobile and web from simple text prompts.
Yep.
And it has a one-click export straight to platforms like Figma or Netlify.
We are also seeing a major shift toward local, cost-free execution to avoid those massive API bills we talked about earlier. Look at Frey AI.
Okay.
It automates desktop apps with zero recurring run costs.
Wait, how does that actually work without pinging the cloud?
It literally sees your user interface. It compiles a cross-app workflow based on your screen and then just runs the automation locally on your own machine's hardware.
That's clever.
Because it's not constantly pinging OpenAI or Google servers, there's no ongoing cost.
But because everyone globally is hitting these cloud tools constantly, the central servers are straining under the load. The sources mention something called edge fallback models.
Right.
This is a system that keeps your coding assistants running by automatically routing your queries to alternative models behind the scenes.
It's a fascinating ecosystem of redundancy. If Claude is rate limited, suddenly unavailable, or just too expensive at that time of day, the system automatically falls back to alternative models like Kimi K2.6, Gemma GLM, or Quinn.
And you don't even notice the switch.
Exactly. It's totally seamless.
And the output from all these models is becoming incredibly convincing. Did you see that viral AI-generated 1950s family photo mentioned in the newsletter?
I did. It's pretty unsettling.
It takes people nearly 4 minutes to find the hidden visual flaw in the image.
Yeah.
That proves just how slick and seamless AI output has truly become. It is passing our visual Turing tests daily. But I want to go back to Edge for a second.
Sure.
Does relying on fallback models mean our global AI infrastructure is actually quite fragile?
Well, it's not necessarily fragile in its architecture, but it is deeply fragile under the weight of current human demand.
Okay.
It's a necessary adaptation. The global demand for computing power is so incredibly high that no single model or data center can guarantee perfect uptime. So seamless redundancy is the absolute only way to keep enterprise workflows alive.
Tool redundancy keeps the system running even when one AI falls over.
Exactly. It weaves a safety net out of competing models.
2-sec silence. We've talked about the physical dirt in the water. We've talked about the billions of dollars flowing into startups. And we've talked about the relentless grind of new daily tools. Now we need to look at the darkest part of this data, the human cost.
Yeah, this is the tough part.
The impact on the actual individual worker.
This is where the narrative shifts from technological wonder to profound, very real economic anxiety.
The numbers in this corporate survey are chilling. We all knew the AI efficiency wave was going to impact jobs eventually.
Right.
But the timeline just got aggressively shorter. Execs are officially treating AI as their next massive profit maximizer. Eat, A staggering 99% of surveyed CEOs expect AI to drive layoffs within the next 24 months.
99%. Let that sink in. That is near total consensus across corporate leadership.
Yeah.
You rarely see 99% of CEOs agree on what to order for lunch, let alone a massive macroeconomic shift.
And only about a third of them actually believe humans and AI can truly coexist in the long-term workforce.
That's grim.
The primary targets for these impending cuts: early career and Gen Z workers. The logic coming from executives is brutal but economically simple.
What do they say?
They are looking at junior roles and asking, why spend 2 years training a junior employee when a chatbot can do the basic grunt work 24/7 without a bathroom break or a salary?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, you see a complete shift in how corporations view talent incubation.
Right.
They're effectively abandoning the apprenticeship model entirely. They don't want to pay for the learning curve anymore.
And the workers feel it. This existential dread is rotting company culture from the inside out.
Oh, absolutely.
Worker thriving scores have absolutely tanked, dropping from 66% down to 44% in just 2 years. It is getting so pervasive that researchers have actually coined a brand new psychological term for it.
AIRD, AI replacement dysfunction.
AI replacement dysfunction. It describes the intense psychological toll of knowing you are constantly competing against an algorithm that never sleeps, never complains, and gets twice as smart every 6 months.
It's exhausting.
But the reports note something critical about the leadership side. A lot of these executives are completely dazzled by slick AI demos.
Yes, they are.
They're rushing to slash headcount before they even know if the tech delivers actual, sustained productivity gains in the real world.
It's a rush to the bottom line.
Yeah.
It's driven entirely by the aesthetics of efficiency rather than proven long-term operational results.
Right.
They see a slide deck generated in 10 seconds, and they assume the entire company can run that way.
Let me push back here, though. Are these CEOs making a rational, hard-nosed economic choice based on the data? Or are they just falling for the hype of those slick 4-minute Silicon Valley demos?
The analysis points heavily toward hype-driven panic.
Really?
Yeah, they are absolutely dazzled by surface-level capabilities. They see Stitch 3.0 build a user interface instantly, and they immediately rush to cut their junior design team. They are doing this before truly understanding the long-term operational damage of hollowing out their workforce. The AI might build the interface, but it doesn't understand the nuance of the client's business needs.
Executives are trading actual human potential for unproven, slick software demonstrations.
That's the tragedy of it. The short-term stock bump from announcing layoffs masks a massive long-term brain drain.
2 sec silence. Let's step back and look at the whole board. The big idea here: if you synthesize all these different sources, what we are witnessing is a massive, multi-tiered structural squeeze.
A structural compression of the modern
So
economy.
exactly. At the very top, you have physical and geopolitical wars, battles over local water and power in places like Utah, actively trying to choke off AI's physical brain. In the middle, you have billions upon billions of dollars creating a chaotic, unsecure, but incredibly powerful software ecosystem where tiny teams generate billions in revenue.
Right.
And at the very bottom, 99% of CEOs are using the mere promise of those unproven tools to threaten the human workforce with AIRD.
The pressure is pushing down heavily from the geopolitical infrastructure level, and it's pushing up relentlessly from the automated software level.
Yeah.
The individual human worker is trapped right in the middle of this vice grip.
Which brings us directly to you, the listener. If you are in the workforce right now, based on everything we have just read in these intelligence reports and surveys, you cannot afford to wait.
You really can.
You cannot sit around waiting for your boss or your HR department to figure out a cohesive AI strategy. They are already planning for a future that doesn't include you.
Exactly.
You need to aggressively upskill yourself today. You must become the person orchestrating and directing the AI systems, because the people who are trying to compete against the systems, well, they're already losing the game.
You have to elevate yourself from the laborer to the orchestrator. You have to be the human guide we talked about earlier.
Right.
It is the only secure high ground left in this economy.
Right. Okay. So what does this all mean? Beat. I want to leave you with a final thought that wasn't explicitly answered in these texts. A question for you to mull over as you head into work tomorrow. If 99% of CEOs successfully replace all their junior entry-level workers with chatbots to save a few dollars today, where exactly do they think the next generation of senior human leaders will come from in 10 years? Beat. If the bottom rung of the ladder is completely gone, how does anyone climb to the top?
It is a profound systemic oversight. You simply cannot harvest the fruit if you kill the roots.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep learning, keep questioning. We'll see you next time.